Welcome to the Intrazone, a show about the Microsoft 365 Intelligent Intranet. I'm Mark Cashman here with Brad Gussin from the SharePoint engineering team to discuss how and about Microsoft 365 Backup, our offering, and the importance of what our partners are doing in the ecosystem in the backup space.
Thanks, Mark. On today's episode, we chat with Brad Kirby from Commvault, one of our valued Microsoft partners. Brad and I discuss the integration of Commvault Cloud with our premium Microsoft 365 backup storage platform.
So I know that there are a number of things that we've been doing in this broader space, and it is exciting times for backup, both what you and your team are doing with the core offering, and to hear more about what our partners are doing to extend that. Before we get into the interview with Brad Kirby, just to back up, pun intended, and talk about the new Microsoft 365 backup offering and really the value of the backup ecosystem, our backup partners. Why are we doing this? Not just why our partners are doing it. We're going to hear a lot about that from Brad in your discussion, but why is Microsoft jumping into this space?
Sure, we've heard from customers a need to have a performant and secure backup solution that meets the modern day challenges of having a lot of data in their tenant and being able to scalably perform performant restores across an entire tenant if their data is attacked in a large manner. And so we introduced the Microsoft 365 backup storage platform that provides these kinds of solutions, and that powers both our native solution as well as partner solutions such as Commvault's, and gives customers the solutions that they really need in this area where there are currently gaps.
So that might be really the 101 of what I wanted to ask you next. But just to ask specifically, what is Microsoft 365 Backup? And if you can set the context of where does this fit within the broader Microsoft 365 portfolio, if it helps people ground and understand the how do I get it, or where do I find this when I go looking for it?
Yeah, good question. So the Microsoft 365 backup storage platform is the underlying technology that powers these new solutions that we're delivering. And we're delivering that through a first-party native application in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. And that's what you'll commonly hear referred to as Microsoft 365 Backup, powered by that backup storage platform. And then we're also delivering capabilities through partners such as Commvault through their applications built on the backup storage platform. And overall, it gives customers really great, fast, mass-scale recovery performance and limited security and privacy scoping to keep their data in the secure manner that they've come to trust with the Microsoft 365 trust boundary.
Yeah, I think the basis of the platform, I'm confident enough over time, the work that you and the broader SharePoint team does at the platform level, of course here for storage, but for the benefit of that real trust layer with our customers through our partners often, both for how they work with the platform, how they extend the platform, or how they just extend the capabilities of the platform through their own offerings. I've heard you say a number of times already, speed is important. The confidence of recoverability is important. If we were just to give a lens through maybe the customer, where both Commvault and Microsoft is supporting the end result of the customer in a better place or able to do more X and Y, what would you say are the one or two common scenarios that a customer who is wishing to have this backup beyond the defaults of the standard within Microsoft 365, what are those scenarios, or how do you describe that customer intent?
So today in Microsoft 365, we have really good high availability and disaster recovery built natively into the system. We have various end user capabilities in terms of things like versioning or site admin rollback of site state. That exists today, but it doesn't work great in terms of mass admin, top attendant admin level recovery from things like ransomware attacks or other kinds of accidental or malicious content overwrite or deletion by an employee or a rogue app or migration app or something like that that might cause more widespread damage. And so recovery at scale from those more widespread damaging events to customers' content is really the focus of our backup solution here today through our native app or through partners. And that, coupled with a lot of other great features, such as purview for data management, security, privacy, and compliance, when you tie that all together, we're giving customers a really great data management experience with a high amount of availability, resiliency, and recovery capabilities.
So with this extension and increased capabilities through partners on top of that storage platform, if we could get a window into when you first met with your leadership team and said, here's what we're going to do, and here's the strategy of the role that our partners are signing up to do and go to market with us. What would be that, pitch of how we work through partners so that, any of our stakeholders were informed?
As you know well, Mark, and I'm sure you've pitched a lot on here, we have a really healthy and strong Microsoft 365 partner and ISV ecosystem. We rely on them to deliver a lot of additional value that we don't to the customers directly. And it's just a win-win for everyone, for the customer, for the ecosystem, and for us when we have a robust set of tools and solutions for the customer. And so no doubt since its inception for the backup storage platform idea, our leadership from the start really said, hey, we want to make sure that we are opening these APIs up to anyone who wants to build on top of it. We want to support a healthy ISV ecosystem so that we can deliver the most value to customers, whether through partners or natively. And so it's always been from day zero our intent and strategy to help support and leverage ISV partners, developer partners to deliver great Microsoft 365 backup solutions on top of our new platform to our end customers.
Yeah, I think that's super important in the real conceptual planning from the very beginning, to have included partners, for sure, have met with them many times, both strategically at the API level to validate what we're doing. Not only does it work, but then getting their feedback of what their plans are. So this go-to-market with the partners is just at the tail end. I'm very excited for you and the team, and of course our partners, to get to this stage of releasing to the world. But the coordination with the intent and planning, I think is really important to know that this offering is a strong offering, and it's stronger with partners. So congratulations on that planning. And again, excited to hear more about what Commvault offers, which I think we're at a good point to get into it. You had a great conversation with Brad from Commvault, and I think it's time for us to take a pause, you and I, and get into your interview.
Sounds great. Thanks, Mark. I'm excited to be joined today by Brad Kirby, Senior Director of Product Management at Commvault, to talk to you about how Microsoft and Commvault are working together to help organizations achieve cyber resiliency. So welcome to IntraZone, Brad K. Would you take a minute just to tell us about yourself and Commvault?
Yeah, you bet. Thanks so much, Brad G. So Brad Kirby. Brad mentioned that I'm part of the product management team here at Commvault. I'm responsible for all of our SaaS application workloads, and focused, of course, on Microsoft 365. And Commvault has been in this business for 26 plus years, really in many ways tied at the hip with Microsoft, and we're super excited about being able to discuss our joint innovation today.
Thanks for that intro. So to start off with, what are the top concerns you're hearing from customers around business continuity?
I think the first thing I would say is, our customers really appreciate the fact that the Microsoft 365 environment is physically redundant and geographically separated, and that really provides a highly available and disaster-tolerant infrastructure for these super important workloads. So need to say that out of the gate. But while Microsoft is monitoring and ensuring that infrastructure availability, we all know that ultimately the customer is responsible for the integrity of their data. And more and more organizations are becoming aware of that fact. And for that reason, they voice a number of concerns to us. First, everyone is concerned about ransomware and the impact of ransomware on their business operations. They're also concerned about potential malicious internal attacks and how to recover from those. And then finally, a lot of organizations are simply concerned about large-scale accidental modification due to a script that's gone wrong and, deleted data, or, potentially a migration that's had a critical error and corrupted data as part of that migration process. There's a whole host of concerns that are top of mind for people. And Brad, as you mentioned earlier, customers have terabytes or, oftentimes petabytes of highly sensitive data with complex metadata and labeling requirements. And they need to ensure that they're able to restore all of that quickly and efficiently in the event of a disaster. And some customers actually have some pretty challenging security and compliance requirements where they have to retain that data, that M365 data, within the trust boundary. That's absolutely critical to them. At the same time, there are other customers that say, hey, I need to have a portion of that data outside of the trust boundary for legal or compliance, legal or audit reasons. And at the end of the day, it's really important for organizations to assess the important factors such as baseline risks and dependencies, and establish what their recovery objectives are, and make sure that they have an operational plan to achieve those objectives, in a complex compliance environment. And probably most important, they need to ensure that they have a sufficiently performant plan. In other words, the best laid out plans are really not practical if you can't recover quickly. So kind of with that in mind, as a lead-in, Brad G., where are you seeing customers, or where should customers be focusing their cybersecurity requirements? And then we're going to talk about Microsoft 365 backup.
Yeah, those are all great points. I think it's important to first point out, like, step zero should be to try to detect threats before they breach your data. But ultimately, those threats can get through. Unfortunately, we've seen them. And so, like you said, it's really important to have a sufficiently performant recovery plan in the event that an attacker gets through and compromises the customer's data in some way. And so when customers think with this mindset, they should look for a solution that basically achieves those goals. And they really need a simple plan. They need something that is speedy and that operates at cloud scale to quickly recover their data wherever it lives, with enterprise-grade resiliency and really an integrated incident response, because when there's an emergency, you need to make sure that you have a good plan together, you have great tooling, and that you can operate it to get back into a healthy state really as quickly as possible. And so taking a simplified approach with the best tools for business continuity is critical. Taking a simplified approach to achieving their business continuity across all of their data estates for great data resiliency across their apps, their on-prem, their various clouds, etc., is really important, so that they have a plan to get back to a healthy state as quickly as possible. At the end of the day, you're not really buying backup, you're buying the ability to recover your business operations quickly and securely.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, right? The idea here is you're not just buying backup, you're buying the ability to recover your business. And I think that's a great segue into what is Microsoft 365 backup and Microsoft 365 backup storage, and how does it address some of those concerns that you just talked about, or where customers should be focusing their efforts?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Microsoft 365 backup, or in this case, backup storage, that Commvault is building on top of, is really our preferred platform for customers to protect their M365 data. First of all, it provides ultra high speed bulk backup and restore capabilities. And so it's the best way to recover a healthy state of your data quickly to restore business continuity as soon after an attack as humanly possible. And that's exactly what customers will get with Commvault's integration with Microsoft 365 backup storage. It enables that enterprises to perform that extremely fast backup and reactivation of their OneDrive, SharePoint, and Exchange content, many orders of magnitude faster than is otherwise possible with traditional solutions. And to put that into a little bit of context here, we're seeing restore speeds of roughly 3 terabytes an hour when you're restoring about 1,000 sites of average size, 1,000 mailboxes of average size. And that compares, that's about 20 to 30 times faster than is possible with traditional Microsoft 365 backup and restore solutions. So you can just see the scale and the speed at which this really makes a difference when you're trying to get your business back up and running. Being able to recover that data 30 times faster means really all of the difference in the world. It means that you can get your business back up and running in a matter of hours. You don't have to shut down your business and turn customers away and go negotiate with ransomers. You just stand your business back up as soon as possible. It's great. And also call out here, because the data resides in the Microsoft 365 trust boundary, and again, still physically redundant in geographically separated locations for exceptional high availability and disaster recovery. But because it's in that trust boundary, it provides really tight security control and privacy restrictions for your data, so that you don't have to give overly permissive application data scope grants for this particular data. And we know that's one of the main reasons that customers bring and keep data in Microsoft 365 is because of all of that security and compliant feature set that is baked right into all the data.
Yeah, those are some amazing stats when you think about, the performance with which you're able to recover. It really is. And Brad, if I might, I want to talk a little bit about how Commvault is integrating that technology into our solution, and maybe give folks a little bit of an intro into what the Commvault Cloud is. So first, Commvault Cloud is a multi-tenant SaaS solution that is deployed in multiple Azure regions across the globe and protects a whole host of Microsoft workloads, from Microsoft 365 to Active Directory and Entra ID to Azure VM and Azure SQL, Cosmos DB, AKS, you name it. Commvault is probably protecting that Microsoft workload for you. And what we're so excited about, Brad G, I think we've been working on this for over a year now, is Commvault is going to be integrating Microsoft 365 backup storage directly into the Commvault Cloud. So if you've been using Commvault Cloud to protect Microsoft 365 and other workloads today, you're going to be able to take instant advantage of all of the great characteristics of Microsoft 365 backup storage that Brad just talked about a minute ago. So it's a very kind of seamless experience. If you're used to the Commvault solution, this is just going to fit right in and work like any other workload that you're accustomed to using.
Yeah, great to hear about that integration. So can you run me through a little bit, Brad? Why would a customer choose Commvault Cloud with Microsoft 365 backup?
Yeah, we think customers are going to get a lot of added value from Commvault's integration with Microsoft 365 backup storage. Whether you need backup and recovery speed, which is obviously delivered by the Microsoft technology here, whether you need fuller data management like compliance search and e-discovery capabilities, whether you need self-service access to backup data at any time, really this combined Microsoft Commvault solution has you covered. And one of the things that we really hear from a lot of customers is organizations want to consolidate their data protection offerings with a single vendor. And we're so excited that Microsoft has been so thoughtful to enable organizations such as Commvault to take advantage of the technology platform that they provide and integrate that directly into the Commvault solution. So really customers are getting the best of both worlds here, right? They're getting, that familiar interface that they're able to use to, protect a broad range of workloads, but they're getting the best in class performance in terms of Microsoft 365 backup and recovery. What have you been hearing in terms of feedback from customers? And man, if you can talk about like our joint customers, that would be super awesome.
A great question about customers too. So we have started to get quite a few inquiries from customers about how they can try Commvault Cloud integrated with Microsoft Backup Storage. And I'm always happy to introduce them to you guys and to start off that conversation and walk them through the benefits. We actually just, as an example, recently had a very large financial service industry company approach both Commvault and us, explaining their need to be able to recover their data rapidly. And they have quite a lot of data in their tenant, petabytes of data. And so this was just a great fit for them. They sort of came together at just the right time to ask us as we're delivering this solution. And we were really excited to have you support them. And I have absolute faith that they're going to be thrilled as they start to use this product now more and more.
Yeah, and one of the things that I was going to say here too is, because we've been working on this for a while and because, we've been, educating our respective teams on this, I thought the Commvault team that was working for Microsoft, but kind of both organizations really realized that this was a great fit for this particular customer. And I thought we came together well to make sure that, the customer was getting the best possible solution for what they needed to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a truly a better together story between us and an ultimate win for the customer that they couldn't have otherwise achieved. So really fantastic outcome. Thank you so much for your time, Brad K. I'm really glad you were able to join us and talk about the Microsoft 365 backup storage integration with Commvault Cloud. Really exciting stuff to hear. So thank you again.
Likewise, Brad G. It's been a pleasure doing this entire integration effort with you and your team. And for anyone who wants to learn more about Microsoft 365 backup integrated into the Commvault Cloud, just come to www.commvault.com/M365.
Great. Thank you.
We want to thank our guest, Brad Kirby, and my guest co-host, Brad Gussin, for being on the show and through that interview, giving you the information to help us share more about our backup solution and what our broader Microsoft 365 backup offering and ecosystem is doing to make it even more so.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I'm really glad you asked me to guest host this with you. It's an exciting topic near and dear to my heart, and I do hope that the audience here was educated on the value proposition that we're delivering with Commvault for Microsoft 365 backup customers. We encourage you to check out our show page for links to all of what we discussed today and more. Go to aka.ms/theintrazone.
You got it. And if you have any questions and feedback for Brad, the SharePoint team, your backup curiosities are just alive and well and you want to get them answered or share your excitement, you can reach us anytime via email at theintrazone@microsoft.com or chat with us out on Twitter at SharePoint, at Commvault, and at mcashman.
And then, of course, remember to rate, review, and tell all your friends about the show. Follow the show wherever you get your favorite tech podcasts.
We thank you for listening. We are Mark Cashman and Brad Gussin, and this has been The Intrazone, a show about the Microsoft 365 professionally and securely backed up intelligent intranet.